Hey everyone, glad to have y'all back with me. We're in our second part of our two-part video here. This one is going to be about the law of supply. And we're going to set it up just about the same way that we did for our law of demand. We're going to go through first our questions, which include what is supply and what does it tell us. And then we're going to go to our concepts, which is supply versus quantity supplied. And then the supply relationship and really what it is. Hopefully at the end there, then we'll get our answers, which is a light bulb, and nobody's confused about what the law of supply is anymore. So we're going to jump right in here. We're going to first talk about our questions. So what really is supply? So supply is the quantities of a product that sellers are willing to give at a varying number of prices in a market in a period of time. I know that's a big definition, and we're going to break it down as we go through the rest of the lecture here, and hopefully it'll make more sense to you. The important thing to remember with supply is that it's a relationship of prices and quantities, just like demand. The only difference here is that it's based on the seller, not the customer. So what does supply really tell us? So supply tells us the amount of product that a seller is willing to give at different prices. So basically what the price of a product that you're going to buy from them is going to be and how much of it they're going to give. So we need to remember, just like demand, that supply works under the assumption that everything minus the prices and quantities stays the same. So that's a continuing concept that we need to remember as we go through both demand and supply here. All right, we're going to move right along and get into our concepts. So when we're talking about concepts, there's two things to remember. The first thing is supply versus quantity supplied. So we're going to look on the left side of the page here and what really encompasses supply. And that is price and quantity. So two separate parts to the supply itself. And what does that really mean? So an example of this would be when the price of bananas increase, therefore the seller is willing to have more quantities of bananas for sale. So they're willing to have more bananas in their inventory so that they can sell more. Then we're going to look at quantity supplied. And that's going to be the amount of a product a seller is willing to offer for sale at a single specific price at a certain time. So that's just one certain time, one day that the seller is willing to give a price. So an example of this would be when the seller offers a one-day special for bananas at 30 cents per pound. So we've all been there. We've seen where when we've gone to the grocery store, oh, they have this sale, but it's only for this day or this amount of time, and so that would be quantity supplied. So the second part of our concepts we're going to look at is the supply relationship, and this is meaning that when the price of a product increases, the quantity supplied increases. So in turn, it also means that when the price of a product decreases, the quantity supplied decreases. So you can look at this in two different ways. First is going to be the supply schedule, and the second is going to be the supply curve. So the supply schedule is showing the price-quantity reaction based on the supply relationship. So we can look at the chart right there in front of you, and we can see that on the left side, where underneath price versus pound, how the 50 cents per pound is in relation to 1,000 pounds per week. And as the price per pound increases, the pound per week, that's the quantity supplied, is going up. And so now we're going to look at our supply curve. And it's showing the same information as the supply chart itself. And I think it's just a much better way to look at it from a quick viewpoint. So it's showing the same thing there. You can see how we have the price per pound on the the left side axis and the pound per week on the right side, and as the price increases, the pounds per week also increases. So it's supporting that relationship. So the last thing we're going to need to look at here is our interpretation. So just understanding what we've just talked about. The sellers are going to buy more of a product when prices of the product are low. So that makes sense, right? They want to buy more of a product and have more of it inventoried when the price of the product is low. And this will cause a decrease in the quantity supplied at low prices. So you're not going to need as much when the prices are low. And the last part there is showing the same section, just the sellers will decrease their inventory when product prices are high. So they're not going to want to have as much inventory if they're having to pay a very high price for their product. And so then in turn, it shows an increase in the quantities supplied. Well, y'all, I hope this video helped you understand law of supply a little bit more. I hope you have your light bulb, and we'll see y'all later.